Your job is more difficult than my job. That's what I've learned here tonight. But now, I know whenever you invoke Great Britain or Canada, people start to shudder because, oh my God, it's socialized medicine. Oh my God, it's socialized medicine. And I'm not a socialist, but it don't sound that bad to me.
Well, it doesn't sound that bad. It doesn't sound bad to Canadians. They're perfectly happy with their system. We got some Canadians here. But look, each country is different. It's not just the Canadians and the English. They've got their own systems. You've got every other advanced nation provides coverage for all of its folks. Some of them do it through the kind of plan we're proposing, which is we help people buy insurance in the private marketplace. Some folks, like Great Britain, they actually control the entire system. Some folks, like the Canadians, they basically run it like a Medicare for all system so that government pays, but it's still private doctors and hospitals. So there are a whole bunch of different ways of doing it. And what we're saying is we can find a uniquely American way to accomplish this. But the notion that the wealthiest nation on earth can still have millions of people, hard-working folks, who, when they get sick, they go to the emergency room or they just don't go to the doctor. And if their child gets sick, they're looking at losing their home or losing their business because they can't afford it. It baffles the mind to other countries. And when I talk to other world leaders who are paying attention to this argument, and they hear some of this stuff, and these are, in some cases, conservative leaders. They're heads of center-right governments. And they don't understand why it is that Americans would not want to set up a system that would save them money over time, would work better, would make people healthier. And I think the vast majority of Americans, they want to see change. But look, let's face it, they're a little scared about the devil they don't know. And so, and there's an awful lot of misinformation out there that gets floated around, and that's what we have to fight through. That's why I end up having to be on the Dave Letterman show, that's
right, you know. But I tell you, the one idea I'd like to see right away are these death panels. If we could get them in place immediately, we'll be right back with President Barack Obama. So men and women, American troops coming out of Iraq after a long, difficult struggle. And now people suggesting more and more American men and women going to Afghanistan. What is that? Well,
first of all, I think that our troops are performing at an extraordinary level in both Afghanistan and Iraq. And Iraq, we are on pace to draw down our troops so that by the end of 2011, we will have our combat troops out of Iraq. And that is an extraordinary accomplishment. And look, Iraq will not be perfect, but thanks to the sacrifices of those who fought, the Iraqis will have an opportunity to create the kind of functioning democracy that I think can end up being a real positive in the region. Now, Afghanistan is a real difficult situation. Here's what we know. The folks who killed 3,000 Americans, they were based in Afghanistan. They've been driven into the foothills and the mountains between Afghanistan and Pakistan. But they're still there. And they're still plotting. And they're still training folks. And they're trying to penetrate U.S. defenses. And although they're weakened from where they were in 2001, they're still there. My central objective is making sure that we take those folks out, that they cannot cause harm to the United States. And so the question is, how best do we do that? Unfortunately, over the last 8 years, or last 7 years, 7.5 years after we went in Afghanistan, our strategy drifted. And we didn't have a clear sense of what it was that we were trying to accomplish. And so understandably, the country is weary of the war. The Afghan people are frustrated that they haven't seen more concrete improvements in their own lives. And what I'm trying to do at this point is to make sure that both on the military front, on the diplomatic front, on the civilian front, training Afghan military and police, that on all these elements that we've got a coherent strategy that can work. Because the most important duty I've got is before I send some young man and woman in uniform over there, and I'm answerable to their parents, and if they don't come back, I've got to write a letter to them saying that their child has sacrificed on behalf of America. Before I make those decisions, I've got to make sure that the policy in place is worthy of their sacrifice. And that's something that we're going to take. That's something that we are going to work through systematically in the coming weeks and months. We're not going to make a decision about any further troop deployments until we know what exactly is our strategy, what are the tactics, how would troops be used, can we justify taking those steps, and I'm going to be asking some very hard questions.
It's a pointless exercise, but if the same effort had been applied 8 years ago in Afghanistan that is being considered now,
I think we would have been better off.
And for our gallant effort and struggle in Iraq, did that activity make the world safer from terrorism, or was that a wholly independent exercise?
I think because Saddam Hussein is not there, that's a good thing. He was somebody who certainly had aspirations to cause a lot of trouble. I think that given the enormous stakes that we had in Afghanistan, we should have finished the job there. That's my strong opinion. I've voiced it before, but as you said, it doesn't make much sense at this point for us to look backwards. Moving forward, we're not going to have easy decisions, and I don't want Americans to be under illusions that we will. There are those who argue that now's the time to completely pull out of Afghanistan. There are coherent arguments for that, but there are enormous risks involved in that. There are those who say let's double down and put more troops in Afghanistan. There are good arguments for that, but also enormous risks. So one of the things that I discovered about being president is that if there was an easy answer, then somebody would have solved it and it wouldn't get to your desk. And the only things that arrive on my desk are the things that basically nobody could figure out a perfect solution to, and then we've just got to apply good judgment and try to make the best decisions we can. But what we can't lose sight of is the fact that the reason we went there in the first place, and the number one threat that we continue to face, is that you've got a group of extremists who are willing to slaughter innocents and are targeting this country. And my job as Commander-in-Chief is to make sure that they are destroyed, their networks are dismantled, and that they can't pose a threat to the United States of the sort that we saw here in New York. That's my number one job.
We'll be right back with the President, ladies and gentlemen. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day at the United Nations tomorrow and a good day in Pittsburgh. Please give my best to your family. Thank you for everything. I can't tell you how satisfying it is to watch you work.
Well,
and it's just... And remember, when things get tough, as things tend to do going forward, you, sir, are in possession of a heart-shaped potato.
I'm very happy about it.
President Obama, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
worldwide leader in pants.